Hey guys, Ben here. Before we start the video, I just want to see if you guys can help me out real quick. I'm so close to 600,000 subscribers. There's probably a few of you who haven't done it yet, but if you haven't subscribed, please hit that red button and we could maybe get there today. If we could, I'd be very, very grateful. You don't have to, but the option is always there. Thank you guys. Enjoy the video. What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video, episode number 101 for the My Team journey. We're getting towards the end now. This is the Canadian Grand Prix. You might be confused as to why we're seeing pictures of Zandvoort. That was the last episode. Feel free to go check it out. It was the 100th episode, record-breaking episode. I mean, technically, this episode is still a record-breaking episode. Still, uncharted territory. Go check it out if you haven't seen it already. It was a pretty good race, and we're slowly showing signs of improvement. We really are starting to get some bigger points hauls in this championship, and we need to because we're getting deep into the season. Only 10 races, and this is round number 4, I believe. Anyway, we got some progress to make. We got to continue to ramp up the development. I think in the last episode we did tackle, getting all the facility upgrades coming in. They finally came in, and now we're going to start to see the benefits of additional resource points coming in every week. Fixing up a failed upgrade for the engine power, which will make a big difference heading into Canada. So we've got to target engine upgrades. I think drag reduction is also going to be, an upgrade that's going to go well here, so we're going to target that. Streamlined suspension arms, and the car is just going to be that little bit faster at the top end of the straights. What else can we do? Weight reduction is also a really good upgrade. That's 1,000 resource points. Thank you very much. Helps in a straight line, helps with the cornering and the handling, and also probably makes the tire wear that little bit less if the car is lighter. Fast forwarding time, it looks like something did fail on the car. That was the drag reduction. We're going to rectify that heading into the summer break, and we're going to go again. We've got lots of upgrades actually to tackle because there's a big break between Zandvoort and Canada because of this reduced season. We've skipped out Azerbaijan, we skipped out Monaco. Have we skipped out Spain? I think we might have skipped out Spain too. So there's a lot that can go in the car in between last episode and this one. As you can see there, a major upgrade for the ERS, and that'll mean we can push a whole lot more in the races. So that's a welcome upgrade. I mean, the ERS upgrade is crazy. I mean, we're pretty much spamming the overtake button out of every straight anyway. So it's gonna be quite difficult just to spend all the pennies over the course of the lap. But anyway, a minor upgrade to the rear downforce. That'll just about go on in time for the Canadian Grand Prix. Just gone on the car. I'm trying to do this very sneakily, pausing time literally as we get to the day when we get new resource points coming in. Because I want to try and squeeze the lemon as much as possible in terms of upgrades. Unfortunately, yeah, that last upgrade won't go on in time for Canada, but it will be there in time for Austria, the race after. And there we go. That's all the resource points spent. I think we spent like literally about 4,000, maybe more. I didn't count. But that is quite the improvement. And as such, it's reflected in the performance index. We've overtaken Racing Point now, so on paper we're a better car than them, and we are now the 5th best team in F1, but the margins are so close. We're getting to the point now where we could legitimately beat the other teams, even at the top, maybe on a good day with a good setup. And thankfully for us, Canada is a circuit which I go well at. Nice corner cuts. I mean, you can get away with a little bit of corner cutting at Canada, but it is still strict corner cutting rules that we are running. So I'm going to make the most of that and make the most of my, I guess, league racing experience that I've been getting a bit lately. Loading an Austria TT setup. I know it's not a Canada setup, but I'm noticing some trends of how to set up the cars now. 2.6 wings seems to be the baseline, which is pretty good. And those camber settings are god tier now. All the way to the right for the first one, and then all the way to the left for the rest. And that's the way to go. So we should be very fast in a straight line. I think we'll be pretty good at low speed in terms of rotation of the car. One area where we probably will struggle, or where we have compromised, is just overall downforce. So I think through the medium speed corners, we're not going to be as strong as other teams, but we're going to be an overtaking powerhouse, or a defending powerhouse, I'm not too sure, in terms of the race tomorrow. So looking forward to that. Practice is well underway. That was my qualifying run. Didn't beat my qualifying target, but we topped out the session. So that was that. I was actually pretty angry, to be honest, to not beat the target time for the qualifying simulation run, because I felt like it was a really good lap, as evidenced with my position on the leaderboard. But we didn't get the bonus for resource points on that front, so that's a shame. But looks like the pace is fairly strong. Looking forward to what we can do in qualifying, which we've got coming up right after this. As we can see, a nice little influx of resource points, which we'll spend in the next episode. Practice is over. Time for quali. Alright then, here we go for qualifying. Got some high hopes for this race. I said to myself beforehand that we need a podium, realistically, out of this race. If we are to really start getting some momentum in this championship, we need to start taking some points away from our rivals. But looking ahead to the next race in Austria, we need to win Austria, basically. That's the halfway point in the season. And by then, we really need to be getting a move on. So, yeah, it's 8th place in qualifying 1. It's all right. It's not too bad. We're only 4 tenths away from pole, so we can definitely work with that. I did only do the 1 lap, I believe, in Q1, so that's fine. We will continue to find form as we head deeper into the weekend. I always find, personally, for me, that things get easier the deeper into the weekend you get, because the track gets rubbered in a little bit more, and the AI are always on it from lap 1, from moment 1. Whereas, us humans, we take a little bit of, rubbering in ourselves. We have to get our eye in. We have to find that limit. And, we get closer and closer to that with each passing lap. Speaking of the limit, I think we pretty much found it there against that wall on the left-hand side. So, this is the end of Q2. 2 minutes to go. We might have time for another run. Out of the last corner. We actually hit the wall. But thankfully, it was with the right rear tyre, and no damage was sustained. But we did get 3rd place in Q2. A couple of people opting for medium compound tyres. Gasly was one of them who stuck with that strategy. But Albon initially was on mediums and was outside of the drop zone. So he had to put in a late lap to secure himself into Q3, which he's done. But here we go. This is qualifying 3. Speaking of, there's actually quite a large threat of rain for this session. So priority is to get some lap times in early before the track gets too wet. So here we go with our banker lap through the last corner. Again, really pushing the limits as we get towards the end of qualifying. Any more than this, and I think I'm in danger of probably losing a wheel or a wing or anything in between. Albon goes fastest there with a 1 minute 6, I believe. Anyway, one more attempt on this run through the last corner. We're going to really push it this time. And we got on the power really early, which has given us an extra 10th or so compared to our previous best. And again, it's 3rd place. This time, we get in the 6s, 106.958. And look at how close it is, up and down the field. There's literally only 1/10 separating the top 7. Latifi is last, and he's only 3 tenths away. So it's ridiculously close in this grid, and it looks like we're going to bag ourselves a top 3 starting position for the Canadian Grand Prix, because the rain is now hit. I'm going out again on one final set of tyres, but the track is already gone, so no one is going to improve, and we're going to start inside the top 3 for the Canadian Grand Prix. How amazing is that? we always tend to do worse in qualifying. So heading to the race, where we're usually stronger, I've got a good feeling about this race. Let's see if we can kick on and get our first podium of the season here in Canada.
All right, I think we can call that a successful qualifying. We should be in with a good chance in the race.
We're back once again beside the St. Lawrence River here in Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix. The event first moved to a variant of this track back in 1978. It was won by none other than Gilles Villeneuve, the first Canadian to ever win his home race, and in whose honour the circuit would be renamed. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Alexander Albon put in a great lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position, with Sebastian Vettel starting alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Day, Kvyat, Charles Leclerc and Bottas, Gasly, Stroll, Latifi and Carlos Sainz, Russell, Ocon, Jack Aitken and Verstappen, Norris, Hubert, Antonio Giovinazzi and Kevin Magnussen, Ireland, De Vries, Schumacher and Nobuharu Matsushita. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Well then. What do we have here? Max Verstappen with a 10-place grid penalty slapped on for the start of this race. That is exactly what you want to see. Albon and Verstappen gunning for the championship. And, well, yeah, I think the goal heading into this was to get some points over one of those guys today. So let's see if we can hold on. Unfortunately for us, it's a 100% race. It's a 90-odd minute race, and even with the penalty, it'll be pretty tough to keep him behind with our pace. But never say never. Here we go for the race. Softs to mediums. We're going to do the 2-stop. Looks like the AI might be doing a 3-stop, which could make things interesting for us, depending on what they do. But here we go for 5 red lights, and we are underway for career mode for the first time in a little while. We're back once again down into turn 1. We get up the inside of Danny Kvyat, and he gets displaced down to 4th place by Charles Leclerc as well. Got a warning for that apparently, but that was a very calculated dive bomb. Managed to get the place back, and now we're all over the back of Sebastian Vettel as we went through that first chicane. Heading into the second chicane. Is this a chicane? It's not really a... It is a chicane of sorts, but I wouldn't really normally call that a chicane. Anyway, the high-speed chicane after that, that's the second chicane. Let's just stop saying chicane. It's becoming a bit problematic. What is also problematic is, well, my pace. The car's behavior in the opening stanza of this Grand Prix. You can see the car is quite understeer. I can see it quite visually here as well, and with hindsight of me doing this race, I've noticed the car is behaving really badly at the start. But I can say that it does get better over time, or does it? Don't want to spoil it. Anyway, Danny Kvyat getting pretty close on the run into the hairpin on lap 2. So he's got past Leclerc, and now he's nearly got past me. He's on an absolute charge in that AlphaTauri. That car is getting faster. It's already been pretty fast in this career mode journey, but they are ranging up onto the back of the race leaders in terms of the car performance, and Kvyat is all over me. I'm really struggling to keep him behind at this rate. You can see he goes round the outside, and here comes Charles Leclerc as well, down the inside into the hairpin, and thankfully we're able to use our gusto to stay ahead of all of them. Thankfully, like I said, the car is strong at low speed and rotation, and obviously we're last of the late breakers, so we're going to make the most of that. As you can see, side by side through the middle sector chicane, and this squabbling here is really costing us time. I think as well, I've not been using my battery as efficiently as I should have. I really should be pressing overtake out of that high-speed chicane. So that's something I clocked onto that I wasn't really doing. I was thinking what the battery usage was like, and I guess I was just not using it in the right areas. And now after these first few laps, we've got them under our belts. We know where the AI are expending their energy, and we're just going to kind of match their tempo. And now we're boosting out. What? Now we're boosting. That's the terminology. We're spamming the overtake button out of the high-speed chicane. And now we seem to be under pressure a little bit less. So, yeah, just settling into our groove now. 8 laps into the Grand Prix. And Leclerc is starting to make a challenge on us once again. Is he going to go the inside down into the hairpin? It's pretty interesting to see the AI really swapping positions. Leclerc and Kvyat taking turns at having pot shots at me. And so far, none of the strategies have worked. We're 7th into the Grand Prix already. And Vettel is starting to fall into our clutches a little bit. So, as well as like the fuel load coming off, the car getting lighter, the car suiting the setup that little bit more, I would say. It's meaning we're getting a bit faster. And also could potentially be tire wear upgrades that we've done over the course of the season, which is maybe giving us a slight advantage as we get towards the end of stints. As well as the weight reduction upgrades as well. I did touch upon that. It doesn't officially lower your tire wear, but in theory, when you have a lighter car, it means you should have less tire wear. So I'm sure all those factors are coming into play at this late stage of the opening stint. Anyway, lap 15, we're coming into the pit lane now for our set of medium compound tires. We've stretched it quite far in comparison to Vettel, Leclerc and company. I think we did like an extra 5 laps or so. So, yeah, we're definitely doing a 2-stop. It looks like Albon might be doing a 2-stop as well. But the likes of Kvyat and Vettel, they are certainly doing a 3, maybe even more, as they're all boxing onto soft compound tires, as is Alexander Albon. So everyone opting for the soft compound tire as the race tire. We'll see if that is a good decision or not on our part. Hopefully the medium is a great tire, because I intend to run this for the rest of the Grand Prix now. And there is Sebastian Vettel, caught up on the rear wing of Lando Norris in the Renault. So he is, yeah, lost quite a bit of time to just slower midfield runners. So we'll hopefully be able to get back close to Vettel again as we overtake Antoine Hubert round the outside on the back straight. And we're now up into 7th place. Vettel is only just up the road, and he had that massive undercut. So, yeah, stopping early hasn't been overly beneficial for the race leaders, which could bring us back into contention a little later on in the Grand Prix as we get past Lando Norris, who hasn't made a stop yet. 6th place now. Jack Aiken also goes in the pit lane. So does Norris, and that gives us pretty good track position now, and everything is all settled once again. But what about Pierre Gasly? He was on the medium compound tires. He didn't carry on as long as what I thought he would, and he's actually boxed onto soft compound tires relatively early. So, at least from an AI standpoint, they are really favoring the soft compound tire. Now, the safety car has been deployed. So, what is this going to mean for our race? There's Carlos Sainz. It wasn't a crash. It was just a straight-up engine failure, and he is out of the race. So, with this safety car, this actually could help us quite a bit. It's definitely going to help us, because Albon was, like, nearly 20 seconds up the road. He was absolutely flying. He didn't get caught up in traffic after his stop. He stayed out very long and was very good on his tires, very consistent. But, yeah, we're back in the game of sorts. The AI are getting closer to their next pit stop window because they're on the softs. Whereas we only have to stop one more time in this Grand Prix. The AI are going to have to stop twice, potentially, depending on what tyre they go onto, how long they stretch this stint for. Who knows? But we're underway once again for green flag running. If Albon carries on for another 15 or so laps and goes to like lap 30, 35, maybe he could go mediums to the end or hards if he wants to. But I think the hard compound tyre is not the tyre you want to run in a 100% race. In comes Vettel already. That's like only a couple laps after the safety car was brought in. So, questionable race strategies from some of the AI. Vettel is, I think, almost certainly thrown away P2 in this race, as has Charles Leclerc, who was putting the pressure on me early doors in this race. My teammate is in, Latifi, An update on him, by the way. He's running around the edge of the top 10 at this stage. Alternate strategy change. We're going to carry on for an extra lap because of the flexibility brought by the safety car. But this is the state of play. It looks like it's going to be a 2-horse race now between myself and Albon. We've got Ocon, Gasly, and Russell right behind. Gasly not really making the inroads that I thought he would have, given that he's got fresher tyres than anyone. Albon is now into the pit lane. So we are now going to lead this Canadian Grand Prix. This Grand Prix is looking pretty good now. I said I was hoping to get a podium in this race, and it looks like we might potentially get more than what we bargained for. So if we play our cards right, we could be in the running to win a Grand Prix with a car that's not quite there yet. That Mercedes is very, very strong. And now Albon, much like Vettel, is getting caught up in Renault traffic on that subcompound tyre. So I'm just sticking it out long here on my mediums. They're actually not wearing at all, my tyres. They're only like 20-30% at this stage. And Albon is battling these guys. Here comes Valtteri Bottas. He's now getting himself into the game as well in this Grand Prix as we cross the line for another lap. Nearly over halfway through now. As you can see, the Mercedes boys continuing to work their way through the traffic. They are just losing so much time every time they get in a battle. And they've been on this new tyre for about 5 or so laps and haven't made any inroads up until this point. Now they've got some free air and they can start closing me in. Hopefully this Grand Prix hasn't been confusing for you guys. But there's just been lots of battling. But it's not exactly been on the circuit for myself and my competitors. This whole race has really just been a time trial. Just trying to be as consistent as I can. Really try and push as much as I can to keep the Mercedes behind me. But they are catching. Of course they're catching. They're on soft compound tyres that are much fresher than my mediums. And they're reeling me in by about a second a lap at this point. But we're getting close to my pit window. So if we can still lead this race, by the time I go into the pit lane, we are on target to win this race. Well, in the fight to win this race, which we've done. So I've carried on an extra couple of laps past my pit window just to give myself fresher tyres for the back end of the race, because I know that a fight is coming. There will be a fight between myself, Bottas, and Albon, all on medium compound tyres. So stretching out the stand as long as I could so that I've got more to fight with later. And I was also trying to save a little bit of fuel at the same time so that I can really push the engine towards the end of the Grand Prix. So I'm giving myself resources to fight with when it comes to the end game. And looks like we're getting pretty close to that now as Albon is into the lane for his final stop. That means that Bottas is going to carry on for the extra lap, and he's probably going to be the faster of the two Mercedes drivers, though that's going to be a tricky one because Bottas hasn't exactly been able to match Albon so far. No, forget everything I said. Bottas has already made his stop. Albon's the one with fresher tyres, and Bottas has actually undercut Albon. So Mercedes have got this all mixed up. They've got their slower driver in the lead on older tyres, and their championship contender is down in 4th place and has to overtake his teammate in order to make strides on me while I'm flying, setting fastest laps of the Grand Prix. Never mind. Bottas just matched my fastest lap. But there we go. That was a lap where I wasn't quite going flat out. I still can't afford to go flat out, actually. I've got to save a little bit of fuel. And believe it or not, I put in the maximum amount of fuel you can put in a 100% race. Because it's a 100% race, you actually do have to do some fuel saving measures to get to the end. And so you can't always go flat out all the time. Even on this lap, I think if I push too much, then we're really going to be in trouble later. So I've got to really manage this. I've really got to use lean revs through the slower speed corners, Sector 1 particularly. And that's the way that we look after our rear tyres, keep the engine cool, keep the car light-ish, and make sure we have enough fuel to get to the end of the Grand Prix. Here's a replay of me getting past Matsushita, who was in front of me for nearly a lap there. Surprised he didn't get a penalty. But either way, here come the Mercedes. Albon is now ahead of Bottas, and the world is back how it should be in Mercedes world. So, last corner, actually brushed the wall on the right-hand side at the Wall of Champions. We are a champion, and we just proved it right there. Lovely stuff. So, yeah, we're getting to the business end of this Grand Prix, and I'm really having to pull out all the stops now in order to keep them at bay. Albon is now within DRS range. Well within DRS range. He's nearly that threat of overtaking me as we head into the final chicane. Thankfully, my straight line speed is pretty good, though. At the top end, the acceleration, though, not so good. Here comes Albon up the inside, down into turn 1, and we're going to have to hold this round the outside. We'll have the inside for the next right-hander, and we just about keep the lead of this Canadian Grand Prix. Really having to fight hard to hold on to this win. A first win for the season, if we can do so. We haven't even got a podium yet. And here we are, fighting for a win. We are fighting for our championship. Any points we can get on our rivals now is absolutely golden. As here comes Albon again, round the outside at the hairpin. Thankfully, our traction and rotation through there is amazing. So is our straight line speed. I don't think the AI spend too much of their battery on that back straight, which is rather confusing. They use it in unorthodox areas, like out of that high-speed chicane and the run into the hairpin. I think they also expel a bit of battery after this little chicane here. But most of the time I get a really good run out of here that it doesn't exactly matter. But in saying that, here comes Albon. Oh, I think he made contact. I think Albon has actually just run into the back of me. We'll have to get a replay of this and see whether he's got front wing damage. Because this is a very clumsy move. If he's done that, he's thrown away some front wing. Albon has just thrown away his chances of winning the Canadian Grand Prix. But he's still going to get the lead anyway with front wing damage up the inside into the middle sector. Go on, Albon. You can overtake me in a straight line, but you've got no pace in the corners now because you've just thrown away all your performance. And now Bottas is going to get you. It's only a matter of time. Actually, he's in the pit lane. What is this race? We find ourselves in the box seat to win the Canadian Grand Prix. Albon has just boxed and taken himself out of the fight. Kvyat is now on the podium with Gasly in 4th place. I tell you what, Danny Kvyat is not a bad shout for the championship. He's in like 4th place or something. And it's going to get points on Albon and Verstappen. Verstappen of which we haven't seen all day. So despite having a 70-odd lap race, even if you don't have the track position, it seems that Verstappen is really struggling. Vettel is another one as well. Ever since his early pit stop before the safety car, he's been nowhere. But here we are in the dying laps of this Grand Prix. Bottas now has his best chance to get some big points on his teammate Albon and make a stake for the championship. Not a great run out of that slow right-hander for me, and Bottas is going to be on the attack. We're going to go defensive down into the middle sector chicane. Just about able to keep him at bay. Bottas used a lot of overtake at that part of the circuit. Means he was out of overtake, really, when he got to this part of the circuit. This time, he's changed his approach, and now he's using more boost on the run into the hairpin. In the end, didn't amount to anything. So, Bottas, he's running out of opportunities. There's only 2 more laps. Make that 1 more lap to go. That's the power of editing. We're heading on to the last lap of the Grand Prix now. And the problem areas for us to watch out for are the chicanes in the middle sector. If we can hold on, if we can be leading, heading into the hairpin on the last lap, then I'm pretty certain we've won this race. Because of our straight line speed, the upgrades that we put on the car, and the run up to this race, we've taken weight off the car, we've taken drag off the car. It means that we're pretty much been impossible to overtake in the conventional overtaking areas. We're now catching up to lap cars who might give us some DRS, but not on this occasion. I thought I was close enough to get it. We're going to have to wait until the next straight. So we maintain lead for now, but here comes Bottas. He's using the overtake on the run into the hairpin. He's going to try and go right around the outside, but he's going to be blocked in by the lap car as we go for a very audacious lunge up the inside of Nick de Vries. And it looks like we're going to win this Grand Prix. That lunge, that risk that we've taken has absolutely paid off as Bottas sits behind the back marker. He is going to get second place in this Canadian Grand Prix. That is the difference between a race winner and P2. The difference between a champion and a wannabe. Sorry, Bottas. But you got to go for those moves. We were willing, we were daring enough, and we are going to take the rewards. This is going to be the first race win of Season 6. Marduk Motorsport is back.
Nice work, that's P1. Race win. Well done.
Bosh. We have absolutely stormed to victory in that one. I can't believe it, actually. I really can't believe we managed to turn around that race in a way. Especially after the early running in the early laps. I didn't think we'd have the pace to stay in third place, let alone move forward. But sure enough, the car got better over the course of the race. I guess I adapted to the car's driving style. I guess one thing I didn't really touch upon is the car is a little bit difficult to drive with this setup and the upgrades that we do have applied. We do have many more balance upgrades that we need to do. The car was quite on edge at times. So, yeah, that was definitely something that needed to be tamed a little bit in the race. But, yeah, like I said, we got on top of things over the course of the Grand Prix. And, yeah, everything just kind of came to us. The strategy, the tires, the grip, the AI doing their own thing, doing extra stops. Safety car really harming their running on the softs. Brought us back into the game. And then, yeah, our pace kept getting stronger, but we were still always that little bit slower than Mercedes. But I was just fast enough in the right areas to stay ahead. And, yeah, we're now in the mix once again for a driver's and maybe a constructor's standings win. But we need to kick on. We need to keep going. Some points from my teammates, which was nice to see, but not many. We, like I said, we need to continue to improve. We're still not the best car, not by some way. I still think we're a good, like, 2.5 tenths off the pace of the Mercedes at this stage. But good strategy, good setup, good track. Really lent itself well at this Grand Prix and crucial points. Absolutely crucial points over Verstappen and Albon, who are the championship protagonists. But there we go, guys. That's been this Grand Prix for today. Smash that like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more racing game content. And yeah, it would be sick if I could hit 600,000 subscribers today. I don't think that's going to happen, but we can always try. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Looking forward to the next Grand Prix, that being Austria. F1 2021's coming out soonish. So I'm not going to leave a week's break between episodes now. I'm really going to knuckle down and finish off all the videos that I need to finish off for F1 2020, because the end of this game is in sight. Cheers for watching. Can't wait for the finale. Can't wait for the end of the season. Saying that as if the finale is coming up. Anyway, can't wait to see how it all pans out. I'm waffling. Goodbye.